Hello, Rams fans. Today I want to talk about two topics generating a lot of discussion around the Los Angeles Rams. First, the controversy over the grade ESPN gave the Rams off-season, and then we'll discuss how the offense might finally unlock a whole new dimension with Xavier Smith and the deep passing game for the 2026 season. I'll tell you all about it right now, but first, I want to hear from you. Do you believe the Rams are capable of reaching the Super Bowl this year? If so, smash that like button. If not, write down why you don't think so. Either way, if you've been a fan for over 15 years, write this. Go Rams! We're going to make it happen. It's great to see fans of all ages here. The other day, I saw people commenting that they were at games back in the 60s. That's incredible, my friends. Now, sit back and let's get to the news. The reaction to the Rams offseason intensified after ESPN released grades for all NFL teams and, surprisingly, gave the Rams a C+. For many within the organization and among the fan base, this assessment simply doesn't reflect what actually happened during the offseason. Criticism grew even stronger because the Rams were ranked among the lowest-rated teams, despite making some of the most talked-about moves in the entire league. The biggest point of contention is the opinion that the Rams paid too high a price to acquire Myles Garrett. Critics argue that giving up Jared Verse, along with several draft picks, was an excessive cost. However, many close to the Rams vehemently disagree with that assessment. The argument is simple. Myles Garrett is considered one of the most dominant defensive players in football, and acquiring a player of that caliber was never going to come cheap. What makes this debate even more heated is the suggestion that Garrett and Jared Verse could be viewed as relatively comparable assets. Statistical comparisons presented during the discussion revealed significant performance differences, particularly regarding sack rate, pressure rate, and impact against the run. Those who support the trade believe that directly comparing the two players downplays the level Garrett has already reached. The criticism did not stop there. Questions also emerged regarding the acquisition of Trent McDuffie, the investment in Ty Simpson, and the aggressive use of draft capital. Yet at the same time, even some of the criticism acknowledged that the Rams became significantly more dangerous and increased their chances of competing at the highest level. That contradiction is exactly why so many fans are asking one simple question. How can a team described as dangerous receive a C+ grade? Now, let's move on to how the Rams may unlock their offense. One of the most interesting discussions surrounding the team entering the 2026 season centers on Xavier Smith and the possibility of finally bringing a true deep ball element back into the offense. The belief from several observers is that this single adjustment could completely change how opposing defenses approach the Rams. Xavier Smith experienced a difficult 2025 season. Although he flashed potential during preseason action and showed moments of explosiveness, his role never truly expanded during the year. He finished the season with 18 catches for 303 yards, while averaging 16.8 yards per reception. Those numbers reveal something important. Whenever he touched the football, the potential for a big play existed. The opportunity now appears larger than before. After changes within the receiver room, there is a belief that Smith could finally establish chemistry with Matthew Stafford from the beginning of the season, rather than trying to build that connection late in the year. The discussion is not about turning Xavier Smith into a receiver who catches 80 passes. Instead, the conversation focuses on his ability to stretch defenses vertically. Several players on the roster contribute in different ways, but the specific ability to threaten defenses deep down the field appears to be an area where Smith can separate himself. At 5'9" and 180 pounds, Smith possesses speed that immediately stands out. His 4.38-second 40-yard dash highlights the kind of acceleration that can create problems for defensive backs. Last season, the Rams targeted him at an average depth of nearly 17 yards, demonstrating that his role already leaned toward creating explosive plays. The challenge is consistency. Smith's confidence became a major storyline after a costly mistake against Seattle. That moment appeared to affect not only his season, but also his overall confidence level. Recovering from those moments often defines careers, and entering this season, there is a sense that Smith needs a bounce-back year in every aspect of his game. His responsibilities may not stop on offense either. There is also an expectation that he could continue handling return duties. Success there could help build confidence and increase trust from the coaching staff. The deep passing discussion also includes another name generating attention: Terrence Ferguson. Ferguson quietly finished his season with impressive efficiency. He recorded 11 catches for 231 yards and 3 touchdowns while averaging 21 yards per reception. 9 of his 11 receptions resulted in first downs, demonstrating his ability to create meaningful plays whenever the ball came his way. His development could become extremely important. At 6'5" and 252 pounds, Ferguson presents a different type of deep threat. Instead of relying on pure speed, he can attack defenses through size, body control, and contested catches. There is a growing belief that Xavier Smith and Terrence Ferguson can complement one another perfectly. Smith provides the pure speed element. Ferguson provides the size and downfield matchup advantage. Together they may offer something the offense has been missing. The conversation also extends to how the coaching staff plans to utilize these players. Creative play design may become essential. Screen passes, quick touches, and early involvement could help Smith establish rhythm before deeper opportunities develop later in games. Confidence remains a central theme. For Smith, confidence in the return game and confidence as a receiver may determine his role. For Ferguson, confidence built through increased opportunities could accelerate his development entering his second season. The importance of a healthy training camp also cannot be ignored. Building chemistry with Matthew Stafford during camp may allow both players to enter the season with clearly defined roles and stronger connections within the offense. Another point repeatedly mentioned is the desire for the Rams offense to become more multidimensional. The offense already creates yards after the catch and moves the football effectively, but adding a consistent vertical component could force defenses to defend every area of the field. There is also the reality that opportunities must be earned. Xavier Smith must demonstrate reliable hands and consistency. The coaching staff expects production, and earning trust remains critical. Improvement in those areas could make him a much larger contributor. Terrence Ferguson faces his own challenge after the addition of another young tight end to the roster. Competition can create pressure, but it can also create growth. Ferguson's production late in the season showed flashes that many believe can become a larger part of the offense. As the 2026 season approaches, these discussions continue to grow. One debate focuses on whether the Rams received unfair criticism for their off-season decisions. Another focuses on whether the offense can reach a different level through Xavier Smith and Terrence Ferguson. The first discussion is filled with controversy. The second is filled with possibility. The criticism surrounding the offseason will continue because aggressive decisions naturally divide opinions. Some believe the Rams gave up too much. Others believe they acquired proven talent that immediately changes the outlook of the team. The offensive discussion may ultimately become even more important. If Xavier Smith develops into a legitimate deep threat and Terrence Ferguson continues his growth, the offense could become far more difficult to defend. The coming season may answer every one of these questions. Was the criticism unfair? Did the aggressive moves actually strengthen the team? Can Xavier Smith bounce back? Will Terrence Ferguson take another step? Can the deep passing game become a major weapon? These are the questions surrounding the Rams right now, and the answers may define the entire season ahead. What do you think, Rams fans? Was the ESPN grade completely wrong? And do you believe Xavier Smith and Terrence Ferguson can help unlock the offense next season? Leave your opinion below. Subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and click the video appearing on your screen because the latest Rams news and updates can only be found right here. The more people discuss the Rams entering the 2026 season, the more one theme continues to emerge. This team may not simply be trying to improve what already worked. Instead, there is a growing belief that the offense is attempting to add an entirely new dimension, and that possibility places even more pressure on players like Xavier Smith and Terrence Ferguson. For Xavier Smith, this season feels like a crossroads. Last year produced moments of promise, but it also produced disappointment. The numbers showed flashes of explosiveness, averaging 16.8 yards per reception, but the overall production never reached the level many hoped for. The opportunities were limited, confidence became an issue, and difficult moments affected his momentum throughout the season. Now, everything changes. The receiver depth chart presents opportunities that did not exist before. Smith does not need to become the #1 target. He does not need to catch 80 or 90 passes. His value may come from something much simpler, but equally important: forcing defenses to respect the deep ball. Defensive coordinators prepare differently when speed is on the field. Even if a player only receives a handful of targets, the threat alone can alter coverage, open underneath routes, and create additional space for other receivers. That possibility is exactly why there is growing attention surrounding Smith entering training camp. His speed remains one of his greatest advantages. Few players on the roster possess his ability to stretch the field vertically. The Rams have shown interest in using him in those situations, but consistency will determine whether his role expands. At the same time, Terrence Ferguson may become one of the most interesting players on the entire offense. His production late in the season suggested that bigger opportunities could be coming. Despite limited catches, he consistently generated first downs and produced explosive plays. 3 touchdowns on only 11 receptions demonstrated how dangerous he can become when given opportunities. The combination of Ferguson's size and Smith's speed presents something different. Defenses may face 2 entirely separate challenges. One player threatens them over the top with speed. The other creates mismatches through size and athletic ability. The coaching staff now faces an important decision. How often should these players be involved? How quickly should they become larger pieces of the offense? Those answers may develop throughout the season. What do you think, Rams fans? Can Xavier Smith finally have his bounce-back season? And will Terrence Ferguson become one of the offense's breakout players? Subscribe to the channel, leave your like, and click the video on your screen, because the latest Rams news and updates can only be found right here.